Most people dream of becoming rich once in their lifetime. They imagine the big house, the dream car, the vacations stamped across their passport. And sure, those things feel good in the moment. But here's the real secret the wealthy know. Real wealth isn't measured by what you spend while you're alive. It's measured by what outlives you. Think about it for a second. Would you rather your kids start life at zero, working decades just to climb out of debt and catch up? Or would you rather they begin where you left off, with a foundation, with ownership, with choices? For the wealthy, it's not about the car parked in the driveway or the luxury bag on their arm. Those are surface-level trophies. What truly matters is what no one sees, the systems, the structures, and the discipline that keep their money multiplying long after they're gone. That's why families like the Rockefellers are still wealthy 5 generations later, while lottery winners often lose it all in a few short years. It's not the income, it's the blueprint. And here's the best part. You don't need to be a millionaire today to start thinking like one. You don't need billions in the bank to create something that lasts. You just need to adopt the mindset, the habits and the strategies that the wealthy have used for decades. Most people think wealth is built once, but the wealthy, they build it again and again across generations. So let's break down exactly how they do it, and how you can start applying the same principles right now, even if you're just starting out. From passing down real estate with a plan, to reinvesting dividends, to borrowing smart, to teaching the next generation, and practicing delayed gratification, each of these strategies is a piece of the puzzle, and together they turn assets into generational wealth. So let's delve into these strategies one by one, starting with the first one. They pass down real estate with a plan. Take Sam Zell, a legendary billionaire investor known as the Grave Dancer. He built an empire of real estate, but here's the key. He didn't just own buildings, he created structures, trusts, partnerships, and agreements that made sure those properties would continue producing wealth beyond him. Meanwhile, the average family often just leaves the house to the kids with no plan. That usually ends in arguments, legal fees, and sometimes the property being sold off. Here's how you can emulate Zell on a smaller scale. If you own a home or rental, set up a simple will or trust. Document who gets what and how it's managed. Even a $200,000 home can become a family's first real estate portfolio if passed down correctly. Number 2, they reinvest dividends, not spend them. Warren Buffett is famous for this strategy. Berkshire Hathaway doesn't even pay dividends, not because the company can't, but because Buffett knows something most people overlook. Reinvesting your earnings compounds wealth far faster than spending them. Over decades, this approach has transformed modest investments into billions, demonstrating the incredible power of compounding. Most people, by contrast, treat dividends like free spending money. They cash them out for vacations, gadgets, or the latest trend, never realizing that every dollar spent today is a dollar that could have grown exponentially tomorrow. Here's how it works in everyday terms. Imagine you own $1,000 worth of dividend-paying stocks with a 4% yield. That gives you $40 a year. Not life-changing, right? You could spend it on dinner, a concert, or a small treat. But if you reinvest those dividends, buying more shares instead of spending the cash, those extra shares generate even more dividends the following year. That $40 snowballs into $42.40, then $44.10, and so on. It seems slow at first, almost invisible, but it grows faster over time. Over 20 to 30 years, that same $1,000 could grow into several $1,000s, or even tens of thousands without you adding a single extra penny, simply because your dividends kept buying more shares. Here's a real-world perspective. Buffett started investing as a teenager, and through disciplined reinvestment, transformed modest stakes into the multi-billion-dollar empire he leads today. You don't need to start with millions. Even small amounts, invested consistently and reinvested wisely, can grow into a generational fortune. So the lesson is simple but powerful. Don't treat dividends as spending money. Treat them as seeds. Plant them, reinvest them, and watch them grow into a tree that can shade your children and grandchildren decades down the line. Number 3, They borrow against assets instead of selling. Elon Musk is one of the most famous examples here. He doesn't take a salary. Instead, when he needs cash, he borrows against his Tesla stock, using it as collateral. That way, he avoids selling, avoids taxes, and still keeps ownership in the company. Contrast that with the average person. If they need $20,000, they sell their investments, pay taxes, and lose future growth. How you can do it? If you own stock or real estate, you can sometimes borrow against it with a margin loan, home equity line of credit, or portfolio loan. Even on a smaller scale, this means you can access liquidity without killing the golden goose. Number 4, they teach the next generation early. Think about the Rockefeller family. John D. Rockefeller didn't just leave behind stacks of cash or sprawling estates. He left behind something far more powerful, a financial culture. He understood that money alone is fleeting, but knowledge, habits, and discipline can last generations. That's why the Rockefellers are still wealthy 5 generations later. Not because of inheritance alone, but because every child is taught the principles of money management, estate planning, and philanthropy from an early age. Now compare that to lottery winners, professional athletes, or sudden inheritors who lose everything within a generation. Why does this happen? Because wealth without wisdom disappears. A fortune in the wrong hands can vanish almost overnight through poor decisions, overspending, or lack of planning. Here's the key takeaway. Passing down money is not enough. You need to pass down financial literacy, habits, and values alongside it. Here's how you can start building a Rockefeller-style financial culture in your family. Talk to your kids about money early. Start simple. Explain how saving works, the difference between needs and wants, and why budgeting matters. The earlier they understand, the more natural these habits become. Show them how investments grow over time. Open a small brokerage account together. Explain how stocks or real estate can appreciate, and illustrate the magic of compounding. Even $50 a month, invested consistently, can teach a lifelong lesson. Make money discussions a regular family activity. Hold monthly or quarterly family meetings to review finances, discuss goals, or plan small investments. Involve the kids in age-appropriate decisions so they learn responsibility and strategy. Teach philanthropy and responsibility. Rockefeller emphasized giving back. Encourage your children to allocate a small portion of their allowance or earnings to charity or community projects. This builds not just financial literacy, but character. The truth is, even modest amounts of money become powerful when combined with knowledge, planning, and intentional habits. By teaching your kids how to manage, grow, and protect money, you're not just giving them wealth, you're giving them freedom, security, and the tools to create generational impact. Number 5, they practice delayed gratification as a family. Jeff Bezos is a prime example of delayed gratification in action. For years, even as Amazon grew from a small online bookstore into one of the most valuable companies in the world, Bezos drove a modest Honda Accord. He didn't need to flaunt wealth to prove success, because he understood something most people don't. Every dollar spent on luxury today is a dollar that isn't invested for tomorrow. The wealthy think long-term. They focus on building future freedom, not impressing the present. Instead of splurging on a $70,000 luxury car, they might buy a reliable $20,000 one and put the rest into investments that can double or even triple over time. These seemingly small choices, repeated consistently, add up to enormous wealth and financial security down the road. Here's how this mindset looks in everyday life. Choosing a smaller house and investing the difference. Instead of stretching your budget to buy the biggest home on the block, buy a home that meets your needs. Put the extra funds into a diversified portfolio or real estate that generates cash flow. Over a decade or two, that difference can be life-changing. Saying no to lifestyle inflation. As your income grows, resist the urge to instantly upgrade your lifestyle. Keep your expenses in check and let your investments do the heavy lifting. This habit compounds wealth silently but powerfully. Teaching your children the value of patience. Show them that what we don't buy today can become what buys us freedom tomorrow. When kids see the family making intentional decisions, they internalize a mindset of long-term thinking and financial discipline. Think about it this way: one car, one home, or one vacation might feel exciting in the moment, but choosing wisely today means the freedom to make even bigger choices tomorrow. Freedom to start a business, buy your first investment property, or support your children in ways you couldn't otherwise. In short, delayed gratification isn't deprivation, it's a strategy. Every dollar saved, every expense thoughtfully considered, is a seed planted for a future harvest that could support generations. So here's the truth: assets make you rich, but systems keep your family rich. It's not enough to own property, stocks, or businesses. Without estate planning, reinvestment, borrowing smart, teaching your kids, and practicing delayed gratification, wealth evaporates. The wealthy don't just build for today, they build for tomorrow, for their children, and for generations they'll never even meet. The real question is, are you building wealth just for yourself, or are you building an inheritance that lasts?